Hello?
To excellence that is evident in everything that he is one of the most strategic and intentional people I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Whether it's tackling a complex project, implementing a new process, or troubleshooting a small issue, Jack brings a level of thoughtfulness and care that elevates the work of everyone around. He isn't just checking boxes, he's thinking 3 steps ahead and always asking, how can I make this better? What's even more admirable is that he's not just focused on his own tasks. Jack is always willing to help others along the way. He freely offers his time, ideas, and support to colleagues across campus, no matter the department or the deadline. He lifts others up and in his generosity, creates a ripple effect of collaboration and positivity throughout our campus community. One of Jack's greatest strengths is his ability to innovate. He's never content with just good enough. He's constantly bringing forth new ideas, always grounded in improving systems, enhancing communication, and helping the university move forward. And through it all, he remains committed to growing his own knowledge and skill set, an admirable quality in today's ever-changing environment. Jack embodies what it means to be a Hilltopper, thoughtful, driven, collaborative, and deeply committed to the success of our university community. I can't think of anyone more deserving of the Staff Star recognition than Jack.
Jack, you can come down, we'll take a picture and give you your award. Okay, next, we would like to recognize Itse Pan. She is the program manager for the Chinese flagship program, and she was nominated by Nina Marijonovic. Nina was unable to make it today, I believe. Right? She had another meeting that she wasn't able to show. But she did ask that I read her nomination remarks for ITSED. ITSED is an exceptional collaborator whose enthusiasm and creativity have greatly enriched the WKU community. Always eager to find opportunities to share for shared events, she has worked tirelessly to connect the Chinese flagship program with the broader campus, ensuring that CFP students have meaningful ways to engage with their peers and the university as a whole. Her openness to collaborate shines through in her work with the Honors College, where she has been willing to experiment with new ideas and seamlessly step into the orientation programming. She approaches these opportunities with a can-do spirit, a warm presence, and a clear passion for student engagement. Whether co-planning events or actively participating in them, ITSED brings fresh ideas, positive energy, and solution-oriented mindset that elevates every project that she touches. ITSED's commitment to building connections fosters inclusivity and creating memorable experiences for students. This is what makes her an invaluable member of our WKU community. Her passion, teamwork, and readiness to go above and beyond are exactly the qualities that we should celebrate with this award. And now I'd like to invite Dr. Poole. Do you want to come forward and share a few words with us? Cool.
Sure, okay, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Before I say my lovely words, I would say I'm a little disappointed. I thought there was going to be coffee and a slice of pound cake or something, nice to snack on. No. But speaking of food, Isai always has some snacks in her office. I usually steal her M&Ms. But that is the least of her good qualities. Isai came to WKU as a Chinese language teaching assistant. She came, I think it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, originally from Taiwan, and she was a great person then. And we thought, well, she'll come and go and whatnot, but eventually we decided to stay, and we were very pleased about that because her interactions with everybody are so exemplary. We don't have to tell her you need to be student-centered. We don't have to tell her you need to plan events. We don't have to tell her you need to get this training. She is on top of all the activities, and she works very hard, and she does them enthusiastically and with great results. And the students appreciate all of her work. I appreciate all of her work, especially as a department chair, not having to ask people to do something, but sometimes having to catch up on what they are doing, which is actually a wonderful feeling. So thank you very much, Isai, and this award is well deserved. Okay.
Yes. I'll handle it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next we would like to recognize one of our own, Megan Bailey, who was nominated also by Nina Marijonovic. She is one of our senators on WKU Staff Senate, which is always an honor to be able to recognize one of our own. And she's also the academic advisor in the Honors College. First, I'd like to start by reading Nina's remarks. Nina's nomination remarks read as follows. Megan Bailey exemplifies the dedication, adaptability, and spirit that make WKU an extraordinary place for students and colleagues alike. In this past year, Megan has gone above and beyond her role as honors college academic advisor, stepping up to take on additional duties and responsibilities following the departure of another advisor. She navigated this transition with professionalism and grace, ensuring that students continue to receive the high level of advising care that they deserve. Megan's approach to advising is a rare blend of pragmatism, authenticity, and warmth. She keeps it real with students, offering honest, thoughtful guidance while providing the steady, caring presence of a motherly figure. This balance builds deep trust with her advisees, allowing her to guide them through both academic challenges and personal growth. Her connection with the students extends beyond the classroom or advising office, reflecting her genuine investment in their success and their well-being. Her WKU spirit is evident in all that she does, whether she is representing the Honors College at recruitment events, collaborating with colleagues to solve complex problems, or simply bringing positive energy to the office. Megan's enthusiasm for our university and its mission is contagious. She values connection not only with the students, but also with her peers, fostering a sense of community and teamwork that strengthens our office and benefits the entire campus. For her adaptability, authenticity, dedication to connection, and unwavering WKU pride, I am honored to nominate Megan Bailey for this award. She is the kind of staff member who makes a lasting impact on students, on colleagues, and on WKU as a whole. So let's give it a round. Oh, she is. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shift in there. That's yeah. We'll go ahead and take a picture and then if you want to share some. My apologies.
Wait.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
1, 2, 3. Thank you. There's one right up here. So sorry.
Well, I had not read Nina's nomination, but what I was going to say about Megan was almost the same thing. So I'll just tell a couple of stories about Megan that I think really demonstrate her. So Megan came to us in August of 24, so that wasn't that long ago, but she's already fully integrated into the WKU community, as evidenced by she's already here as part of staff senate. But last semester, during the political craziness that was going on, if you don't know, Megan's very active in the political community, and she had a student who came to her who was very much on the other end of beliefs than where Megan sits. And that student was in a crisis mode and was crying, really having like a nervous breakdown. And even though it was a crazy time, there were a lot of feelings, and Megan was on the other end of the spectrum, that student never knew. She handled that student so professionally, let that student talk about all her feelings. It was just a beautiful moment of how we wish everybody would be right now with each other, and caring about, just because we have different beliefs, sometimes very, very different beliefs, we can still find common ground. And she just took care of that student in a beautiful way. And it was not a fast interaction. I mean, that student was there for a long time. And then that student actually does some work with us. And so Megan continued to work with that student. And that student does not know that their beliefs are very, very different. So I think she just embodies the professionalism that we hope we all have in those types of situations. So thank you for being awesome like that. I have heard her be super, super tough on students who were failing, and no one wanted to say, hey, you're failing, you need to do better. She says that, and they take it from her. And I have heard her giving Kleenexes and letting them blubber out all their feelings at the same time. So great advisor. Thank you for everything you do. Very great.
Right. Thank you all for helping us to recognize these 3 great staff members today. I'd like to conclude by saying that if you work with someone who goes above and beyond and deserves to be recognized, please fill out the nomination form, which is located on our Staff Senate website. Thank you.
Thank you, Kent, for presenting those awards. I'm Jordan Ray. I am part of our Campus Conversations Committee. Our committee's job is to bring speakers to the Staff Senate that can share things that are useful for the staff here on campus. And today we're very pleased to welcome a group from ITS because, I think all of our work is deeply integrated with what they do. And I know that none of us could do our jobs even remotely efficiently without the deep assistance of ITS. I know that I talk with them every day. I'm probably on some kind of a list where they're tired of hearing from me, but they never let me feel that way because they're always so helpful and ready to make sure that I can do what I need to do to help our students. So I would like to welcome today the Assistant Vice President of ITS, Jeppy, and he and his team are going to share a presentation with us. Thank you very much.
And thank you and thanks Staff Senate for having us. We love the opportunity to get in front of people to talk about things and answer questions. I know some have been submitted to us already. And we will definitely make sure to get to those. It's going to be a fairly lightweight presentation to make sure that we, cover some things we just want to make sure people know, some things that we've been focusing on lately that's not even necessarily about tech. There's always that, obviously, going on with that, but more about communication and getting, we want to make sure we are very involved in the community and hearing what the community has to say. We want to give everybody a lot of pathways to get that information to us. And so, some of the items that we've got on here will also lead into those questions that were submitted. And again, open, I assume it's good to say, we'll take any questions that weren't submitted. I'm totally fine with that. So, also want to introduce the directors that we have with us. We got Lori One Arm Douglas. Ice victim, number one. She's the Director of Technical Support Services. We got Derek Keeling, Director of Infrastructure and Operations, and we've got Eric Wolf, Director of Application and Programming Services. All long-timers here at WKU, all people that are very passionate about WKU and absolutely instill a culture that we're always working to cultivate that, always working on improvements, but instills a culture of what can we do to make everybody's experience here better, and obviously, especially our students. A lot of the things that we do are behind the scenes. A lot of the things that we do might not directly impact students, but one way or another, a lot of indirect things. We know that in games, what can we do to make things better? What can we do to give our students a better experience here? So, as you mentioned, you all live in the world today, and whether we like it, because there are realistic pros and cons to how much tech is infused in our daily lives. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it might not be a good thing. And that, it depends on your take on that. It might depend on whether the tech is working for you that day. But it is intertwined with so many things that we do. So not only at the university, but even in our daily lives. But we take great pride in doing the best that we can to keep things working here. It's a big environment. There are lots of things that go on. It's very diverse in the needs of those that we support. And, our stuff ranges from answering questions, helping people over the phone, to going in the field and repairing, like right after this meeting, repairing an AV system, or in the middle of the night, at whatever time, or early in the morning, fixing something that is broken, a major, some kind of a major outage or something. So everybody puts in a lot of efforts to try to keep things working as best we can. But yeah, as you said, we touch, or our technology in general touches a lot of things in modern university. So We talked about support. We really want to try to have as many pathways as we can for people to contact us. Sometimes we hear some things, actually, I say quite frequently, we hear things like, I didn't want to bother you. That's why we're here. If you have something going on where you need some assistance, or you have a question, that is why we are here. Please contact us. Whether that's calling us, submitting a ticket, chat, we've got pretty well functioning kind of AI assistant for some basic support things as well. That's available 24/7. Contact us, have whatever way is convenient for you. We want to hear from you. Again, that's why we're here. We're not gonna get into all of the details of what each group does or all the different teams that are under these directors. It is a very broad thing. We could spend all day talking about any one of them. That's kind of leading into some of the questions that we received. One of the things was surrounding some tickets, and we'll get into some more of these details when we talk about the questions. But we work, IT across IT, takes in and closes just under 40,000 tickets annually. We call them tickets, different people call them different things, work orders, whatever. And those things can range from something that realistically took a few minutes, or it might have taken hours, weeks, months. They're more than I would like, but only a handful that are a little over a year old. Some of those things, it's a battle that we always are struggling with. The little things make sense. Some of those things, they start getting a little bit long. They end up being more involved than we realize. Some of those things probably should turn into projects. We're always trying to balance that. At any given time, we have just under 200 projects on the books. There's always plenty of work to do, and there are always more things that we want to do. So we run in the numbers. We spend usually about 48,000 hours, labor hours focused on projects annually. So these are some of the things that we want to make sure that people are aware of out there. We want to be as transparent as possible with what we do. We want to be open. That we're working on. I'll be the first to admit that I am critical of our operations because we want to always improve. Some of the information out there is not as up to date as we would like it. You all, probably depending on the role, but I think that's everybody's role. We preach documentation and keeping things up to date. We all know that documentation a lot of times is the thing that sucks. Everybody's running all over the place trying to get work done. And even though that documentation is part of the work, really try to instill that in people. it does tend to be the thing that suffers a lot of times. So some of that information is not quite as polished as I would like it to be, but we're always working to make that better. There's a lot of information out there on that page as well. These are the things, so that's kind of awareness. These are some big things people are working on. It doesn't go into the nitty gritty detail of every one of them, but check it out. There are ideas of things the university should be working on in our space. It's not out there, or even if it is, and you want to learn more about it, contact us, let us know. Project governance is a very important thing. I think, I would say, maybe the last, we really got it a lot closer to where we want. We always say, well, let me say this, in years past, it was a lot of first come, first serve. It was a lot of our projects are just some work that has to be done, whether they're upgrades, whatever they are, they're just work that has to be done. To maintain the things the university has. But some of the projects, especially a lot of the ones that are for clients, things that people have brought to us, we work on a first come, first served basis, or sometimes some things made sense to shift around if he doesn't work or whatever. We say, and I mean this in the best possible way, we don't necessarily care what we work on. I mean, we do. We want the university to choose things that have the most impact. Make the best use of resources that the university has. To be honest, it just didn't always happen that way in the past, and this is where governance comes into play. We've got several representatives around the university in two different committees, kind of an academic and administrative committee now. They are made up of several different reps, several different of those areas where the focus is. And all of these project requests we take in, they basically present that information to them and they rank them based on, I'm going to call it cost benefits and call impact. They say, we think these are the things the university, you all should be focusing on for the university. We take that list and then that's reviewed actually by the vice presidents of the university, make sure that they agree, or if they've got, big pictures and things coming up that they think, we need to shift this a little bit. Kind of a multi-layer approach to make sure what we're working on best serves the institution. We don't, in a positive way, we don't want that to be our decision. We're here to serve the institution and do what we need to better the place, to have that most impact. And I'll be honest, in the past, the way I used to work, that didn't always happen. There have been instances, Eric and I talked about this quite a bit. There have been instances, not only like a lot of time was spent on something that maybe didn't get used a lot, there have been instances where a lot of time was spent on something that didn't get used at all. So those are the kinds of things that we're really relying on the governance committees that help us with to make sure everybody's pointed in the same direction. It's really been beneficial for us, really helped out. I think it's got, we got us pointed in the right direction. And it's been an opportunity to make sure a lot more people are aware of what's going on in kind of that broader scheme. So, community engagement. A couple years back, we created something called the customer success team. It was a team of one for a long time. We've been able to shift some things around and we made that a team of two. We moved some more responsibilities to the area that was up to the boards. We've started discussion boards, which one's called ITS Insider. That's the one where the URL is not exactly the clean one to get to. Been in a few emails, mass emails that went out. If anybody needs that, needs a link to that, please contact me, feel free. But that's kind of the philosophy there is there are daily, weekly things that go on in our world, new things, changes. We can't send those out and back, we all staff all email all the time. And so, and they don't necessarily apply to everybody. But we know there are a lot of people out and about that have interest in, a deeper understanding of what we're doing, a deeper awareness of what's going on and changes at the university. This is where we've been announcing a lot more of those in-depth things, going into even some background details of stuff. And it's not just a one-way thing. We fully are open to other people posting things, asking questions. That can be used for really whatever it morphs into. You really want that to be an organic thing. So that's gone well so far. That's pretty new. Operational awareness status.wku.edu. Should put that URL on there, but didn't. But that we've got some changes planned for that coming up, but there will always be a status.wku.edu. That's kind of got to be a popular concept for all kinds of services out there. We've had something like that for over a decade, probably, probably well over that. But that's, you know, if something's not working right, it might be a good place to check, hey, is there a larger problem going on first? We try to keep that up to date. We've also been doing focus groups, sending emails out, focusing on, you know, staff, faculty, students, whoever volunteers, whoever has questions, you can come in, we'll have discussions, we'll talk about anything you're interested in talking about. So, we've had, I think, decent engagement, from the staff side, the faculty side. Being right, student side has been very, very much with engagement, like to the point where this last time we tried to do one, there were no takers. So, that does not mean we will stop trying, because obviously we want to make sure we're doing everything we can for them. All right. I'm not going to go over each one of these. I'm just going to say there is always room for improvement, and we want to do that. So, any ideas you all ever have that anybody has, we are open to. We want to have those dialogues. We know we will be the first to admit that we are not perfect. There's a lot of things going on. It is a very broad and complex environment to have. Always going to be room for improvement. If we're not always chasing that, we're not really doing our job, in my opinion, the way we should. So, again, open for improvement. Please engage us. Let us know how we can do better. Whether that's related to services, related to support, related to new things that we should be getting into. We all know that, especially with some of those new things, financial situations might prevent some of those new things from happening, but let's get them on the list, or maybe it'll prevent them from happening, immediately. But there are good ideas out there for new things we should be getting into. One of those first steps is to get that stuff documented and start trying to drum up support to make that happen. All right, submitted questions. What opportunity exists for us to be able to have voicemail transcribed to us in our email? That would accessibility. I completely agree. That's a good feature. There is an ITS Insider that talks about, the thing I'm getting ready to say. It doesn't go into the detail of, voicemail transcribed. But we have an open project to migrate, what's the next generation of dedicated unified communication for phone system. It's a lot of things go into unified communication. But we will be changing that Cisco-based system that exists today and working to merge that into Microsoft Teams. Teams itself has, there are video conference features, and there's even audio-only video conference feature, but the phone feature really is still kind of a different aspect to that. But we will be working to leverage that platform for that, for the voice communication inherent with that. The voicemail features do transcribe those voicemails. So that's fairly large change. We are 30, I'm gonna say, a lot of it's been back in planning prep. We're the 20–30% complete of where we want to be with that. It will take some time because, and quite frankly, the platforms are very, very different, and you still try to meet some of the needs that people have today with the new platform. Some of that stuff will have to be met, kind of in the middle. There will be a few changes, but obviously trying to make that as seamless as can. So that's a fairly large project that's been talked about for some time. Get into the details of why we went in that path. Because there are a lot of options out there. And I think that's still a good option. It's matured to the point where it's really viable. 5 years ago, a little more questionable. 10 years ago, definitely questionable. But it's in a pretty good place, and financially, it makes a lot of sense to head in that direction. So, let's see. What issues generate the highest volume of service desk tickets? That's why I kind of glossed over the 40,000. So we can get into that a little bit more. We've got some other stats to throw out. Like I said, we do just under, usually around 39,000 tickets closed annually. And interestingly enough, that is a number, at least the last 5 years, been pretty stable. But what makes up that number has changed and can change it every year. Prior to 5 years ago, we were riding a little bit higher than 40,000, so we've been able to bring that down. We, you know, realistically, we, in a way, you could argue like, we really want to bring that number down as slow as we can, because arguable that, well, that means that everything's working great. And, you know, people need less support, for instance, things like that. The number's always, we're always going to be targeting that. And that's what makes the number shift. We look at patterns, we look at those trends. Hey, we have a lot of tickets on this. Is there anything we can do to make this disappear? Because that could be a better user experience. So we chase those things. And so we make those go down in some cases. But then we use that system in other ways, in new ways, that makes the number come back up, and we kind of hit that 38, 39 a year kind of equilibrium with it, which has been kind of interesting. So, but we are always trying to, like I said before, slice and dice the numbers, figure out how we can improve our services. Getting straight to the question, and this was kind of looking at it annually, because there are peaks and valleys depending on the time of year. But top 5 in order, and these are kind of high level categories, but cybersecurity related issues, computer or device issues and requests, banner, number 3, banner info, TopNet advanced, ERP kind of level questions and support related items. Email, number 4, email, Microsoft 365 issues. And email is one thing, and almost everybody's touching email. That 365 is almost like there are so many other things hidden under that Microsoft 365 thing, which really also includes email. I would say there are probably as many in the 365 umbrella, the Office suite, and so many other features in there, which includes Teams, groups, and that is probably as much that as it is email. And number 5, a little more generic, wide, a broad category of software and general system issues and requests. Jumping back to that top cybersecurity, like, oh man, this topmost ticket is cybersecurity related things. And then one of the things that gets lumped in there are authentication. So it absolutely, and that's something that touches everybody at the university. And so authentication related requests are, well, is the top thing when we start getting into that granular level. But and we do internal reporting on a every 2-week basis. And in that every 2 weeks, we have a couple hundred pure cybersecurity related things, whether it's tied to compromised accounts or it's various open records requests. There's a lot of things that fall under the cybersecurity team that they're addressing within those couple hundred every 2 weeks. But then we're again, depending on time of year, and spring's huge. The spring startup is a huge one, because what the data tells us is that everybody must get a brand new phone over Christmas. And so that is a pretty big one. So we don't even see those numbers in fall, which has typically a larger intake of students at that time, starting the fall semester. But we do get several authentication related things, especially in spring. So those do make up quite a bit. We are always working to bring those numbers down. Again, what can we do to deliver the best user experience possible? Some of that we're in control of. Unfortunately, a lot of it we're not necessarily in control of. And so in some cases, we're waiting on Microsoft or Apple in conjunction or collaboration of the two to improve the products that we use to make that experience better. Because we in IT will be the first to say, we wish we did not live in a world that required MFA. But unfortunately, the threat landscape as it is, and the reality of human behavior, we've got to have those kinds of things to protect your accounts, university assets, university data, because it's a reality that people reuse passwords. People's usernames and passwords are out there all the time. And so MFA and concepts like that, even passkeys, make a huge difference in being able to keep as best as possible a handle on that. There is no 100% with security. So, but yeah, that's a big one. Students generate the most tickets. There are a lot of students. But interestingly, when you break that down, each non-employee, I was primarily that's students, but that could be contractors and guests and affiliates and some other things. But each non-employee generates about 4 tickets in their lifetime here, you know, in their career at the university. So let's say that's students and let's say that's a 4-year career at the university. The average is 4 tickets per student. What's interesting is that we only have tickets for about 60% of the student population. So that means a little under half can be getting by pretty good. And again, we want to do everything we can to make that better. Employee tickets. Employees can stick around longer than students, so there's certainly hopes there. The average employee, they're doing different things too. The employee average is 53 for a given employee. Now that could be an employee that's a lot of things come to that. That could be an employee that's been here a long time, or it's an average, so it's going to be all of these. But this will be important to the next tidbit I'll mention. It might be an employee that's been here a long time. It might be an employee that on behalf of their department or team or whatever that work structure is, that they place a lot of tickets for other people. But the winner for the most tickets is 2,500 for a given person. So tidbit. It's not you. You said you were giving them, submitting them every day. So if you're really contacting us every day, we might not be doing something right. So I but it was not you all, it was the 2,500. So, so let's see.
I got a plan to get out.
We actually ought to do something like that. We did something a while back where we, the 500, 500,000 ticket. We actually did a kind of an award. It was an employee. But we sent people out, we got them something. So, we're what's the try to do some more. So,
I have a high score to shoot for.
What's that?
I got a new high score to shoot for.
It might be in the Chelsea. I looked at it, and yeah, we looked at those numbers like, some of them are interesting. Some of them aren't necessarily like, we're gonna really change everything based on this. But if nothing else, some of them are just kind of interesting to see, so. And a lot of them are from the long times, who've been here a while, so. We talked about the MTTR, mean time to resolution. I thought an interesting stat is 53% of our tickets are closed within an hour. So a little over half, 73% are closed within 20 hours. So, and then certainly, you know, up from there, smaller percentages, as we go up from the age of tickets. If we didn't have a system to track that stuff, the numbers are just too large, so. Are there upcoming system changes that staff should start preparing for now? We are tech people at heart. We acknowledge that we probably don't communicate as well as we could or should in some cases, and we're really trying to improve that in any time we can. We're really trying to be aware of not telling people too early, not telling people too late, and finding that sweet spot to make sure people are aware of some things coming up. And sometimes that might be a small change and they won't get as much notice. Sometimes that might be a larger change that might involve budgeting, and you do need more notification. A big thing, you know, recently, which affected a lot of people, certainly affected Lori's area, was the Windows 11 change, sunsetting Windows 10 rather. And I think we gave a 2-year notice on that. Pretty much as soon as we knew Microsoft was sunsetting, because we're not driving, they didn't ask. They just kind of made that decision without us. But they chose when to sunset that. There were some interesting things with this too about what that an OS, it's not even just about hardware power. There were some very specific CPU things that came up about what was going to be supported under Windows 11 or not. Not again driven by us, driven by Microsoft. But we tried to get ahead of that as much as possible in several different ways, whether it's mass notifications, actually seeking out the owners or the users of those machines and letting them know the pop-up. So there's, because obviously the implications are large, you know, if somebody needs a new computer to be able to keep going on the latest and greatest OS, at least getting off the old OS, that's being deprecated. We'll need a plan for that. So we want to just give everybody as much notification heads up as possible. And even with the 2 years, a lot of stuff still comes down to the wire. Just kind of how things work sometimes. So, I think, yeah, upcoming changes that staff should start preparing for now. I think we talked about Teams a little bit. Now, a lot of people are using Teams for chats, and Teams related functions now. I think continuing to get familiar with that Teams interface. Microsoft, it's not sometimes the most intuitive thing ever. We're pretty open and honest about some of that stuff. We're not just selling like it's the best thing ever, perfect software that there's never any problems. That stuff doesn't. I mean, there are always going to be some kind of pros and cons to things. And again, I'm kind of critical of Microsoft sometimes because I don't think it's the most intuitive stuff at the time. It's not. But it is going to be a pretty core piece of where we go in the future for several things, including this, because we just talked about phones. And then kind of related to what we're talking about with Windows 10 related stuff. We really want to encourage, it's not specific, but we really want to encourage everybody working with your budget managers, whether it's department level, unit level, college level, however it plays out for your structure. Plan for budget replacement cycles for the equipment that you use. We look at it like tools. A computer is a tool. It doesn't necessarily have to be the latest and greatest all the time. I need a new one every year, but it also doesn't need to be 10 years old. So we are very open to helping people plan those kinds of cycles out. That could be computers, that could be AV systems in rooms, it could be a variety of things. Technology, again, it's broad landscape. We're always open to helping people plan for that. But we just don't want anybody to be in a bind when things break. Things can break any time, but certainly the older they are, they start tending to fall apart a little bit more, having more issues. We don't want our students to experience that. We don't want our employees to experience that. So having good budgeting cycles for some of that, or budgeting for replacement cycles, it's pretty big deal, pretty important. So really want to encourage everybody to do that. And that last question, what changes should staff be aware of in the next 1 to 3 years? Kind of similar. The same stuff that we just mentioned. There are always things that we are working on, we will roll out. We will make announcements related to that, or our campus, like business unit partners, will make announcements with that. Eric's team has been working with so many business units. I'll call them business units, a lot of different things across campus related to modernizing the self-service portal of Banner. In Banner, the Lucian Banner world, that's called SSB, self-service Banner. You all more common, it is what historically has been branded as top. So they've been working on getting the other parts of Banner, a lot of back-end stuff have been on kind of latest and greatest for the most part for years. The self-service piece, for a variety of reasons, has lagged, partially because the delivered product was not exactly what it should be in terms of feature parity, but also because there was so much customization of the old TopNet that has to be removed. 20 years ago, Illusion, or the Illusion at the time, was a different name, they customized it. That's how we built to do whatever you want. Fast forward 25 years. They don't recommend that anymore. That wasn't the best idea in hindsight, hey, 2020 and all. We've had to remove those and really kind of, when we hit the milestones we needed to for compliance, a lot of tax related stuff related to that system, there's still plenty of things that we're working through, and that interface will be more polished, more cohesive. So those kinds of things, we're always working on a lot of that kind of stuff. What I really want, this might be tech specific, might not be. Really want everybody at the university to think of what they do on a daily basis and how much their processes, how much of that is manual that maybe we could automate. We're big into automation. We're big in trying to clean up the university data so we can automate. If you've worked here for a day and this isn't WKU specific, universities in general, where there are exceptions to the exceptions to the exceptions, that makes automation. So we're really trying to clean the data up, clean up processes, try to get everything as simple as we can while still accomplishing whatever the process is supposed to do. We're working with people, out and about, the different departments, trying to make that better. So sometimes that involves technology, sometimes it doesn't, but I really encourage everybody over the next 3 to 5, or let's say 1 to 3 years, look at those things that get done, look at those processes. There are so many people out there, and I don't fault them for it, that they're doing a process that maybe they never questioned. This was just how I was trained to do it, and who trained me to do it, that's how they were trained to do it from the last person back. And so we picked on a lot of the, banner related processes that are out and about. But some of that stuff has not changed in many, many years. That was a great time to look at all of that. It's how can we make it better? Ultimately, and quite frankly, some people get scared of, if I do a lot of manual stuff and I stay really busy doing this task, and we automate that, it goes away, what's going to happen to my job? I really don't want people to have that kind of fear, because, and especially with relatively lean staff that the university has right now, there are so many better ways for everybody to spend their time and be more impactful doing things at the university than something that we might be able to automate. So really, really want to encourage people, because there are a lot of people that are very busy doing just a variety of things. And so anything we can do to make their lives a little bit easier, make things more efficient, make it so they can focus on more important things of their job. That's what we're interested in. And if we can help with that journey, please hit us up. But I really encourage everybody to look at that kind of stuff. So, big things that we really want to see, some of which are limited on finances, but reporting is a big thing. We want to see much different at the university in the future. We have been working for years on cleaning up, consolidating authentication processes. You all work with some of this stuff in these systems. Over here, I use this username. Over here, I use a different username. And over here, I do something different. We're trying to get that consolidated, simplified, because on the back end, there were probably a good 5 or 6 different things that went on commonly. We're trying to get that under kind of one ecosystem of how that works. And each step we take to get closer and improve that, it directly does impact user experience. We don't want pop-ups and people having to log in 15 times a day. And if you are already today, that already shouldn't be happening. So please contact us if you are experiencing things like that. But the path that we're on, a single sign-on, don't have to authenticate very often, but when you do, it needs to prove it's you. That should be a much better process. So we've been working on that. These aren't overnight things. These have been this is a multi-year effort. We're getting toward the end of that, so that's exciting. We're working on a ton of automation. We talked about that, reducing manual stuff as much as possible. We want to get rid of paper. I already did this there, but occasionally paper's still handy. I do still like my paper. I still like to take some notes. Generally speaking, form submissions, things like that. We don't want lots of true to God paperwork. We want it to be modern electronic paperwork, whatever the right term is for that. So we've made a lot of progress there. We've got some new platforms working with. We've been working. We use as an example. It's getting a little old, but intro accounts for anybody that has to deal with that. And it's one of the first we did on the new platform and related to the new ways and new approaches to workflows. And we went from literally somebody fills out paper, passes it around and puts their signature on it, passes it here, puts their signature on or an initial and passes it. And accounting clicks a bunch of buttons and does this and fills this out and does this and then scan maybe 8 times. I think you go to VDMS. We took all of that into a new workflow and all of those manual things, and it's automated. All of that stuff, the banner changes are automated now. Somebody hits approve, counting gets it, they agree, they look at it, they agree, hit a button, automated. All of those steps are automated. Saves a lot of time, makes the start to finish of that process for each one so much faster. So those are the kinds of things that we're doing, related to like no paper. Probably been years chasing the no paper thing. But we'll get, and it's the right thing for the university. Better user experiences for anything we can. And that's the goal. Seamless, smooth. We don't want people to have issues, but if you do, we're there for it. And we talked a little bit about more involvement from Megan staff students. Anytime we do feedback opportunities, or just feel free to be vocal, feel free to contact the service desk. If you have a request, you have an idea, again, we're here. Please participate on the forums, the in-person focus groups, ITS Insider. We do a variety of things to try to spice up life and try to get that feedback in different ways. If we, promote something like that, please, we're all ears. So please, check that stuff out. And even, this is a little different beast, but even just tickets. One of our struggles, and we've looked at this in a lot of different ways, is we have a lot of tickets that hang out there open because we were trying, somebody hit us up with a need, a request, we're trying to work with them. Sometimes we needed more information, sometimes it's just, hey, are you good now? We sometimes struggle to get, both for faculty, staff, and students, it's across the board, we struggle to get feedback on those. And so we kind of come up with some internal processes, like we want to get every chance we can, make sure that everybody's cared for. But eventually we do have to close those if it's not a response kind of thing. But so yeah, just keep that dialogue going. The system we use to track all that is pretty slick. All of the it is very email driven, which is normal in the business world, but not as normal for students, admittedly. But that ticketing system, we track the full conversations and dialogue. If something goes wrong, we look to that to see what the story is and see how we get back on track. We've done some cool stuff with that for escalations, like, hey, we know always don't go perfect. If it's not if things aren't happening the way you think they should on those ticket emails, at the bottom, there's a link for escalations, and that notifies key people to look into what's going on and make sure to get it on track if it's not. So I'm excited. Speaking of ticketing systems, we've done a lot of work bringing other departments and groups onto the ticketing system. Their own part of it, their own world of ticketing work management system. But we've brought on at least half a dozen other clients around the university using to track their work, and something like that. That also kind of goes with those processes and efficiencies. It's worked out very well. If you think you have a need to track work like that, typically at scale, it doesn't have to be at scale. So it doesn't have to be 40,000. Just has to be a need place. Somebody's asking me stuff frequently, and I need a better way to track it. Hit us up. There's some stuff we can offer that might make that easier. And some people in the room might already be doing some of that. All right, I've definitely talked enough. I'm sure I ran over my time. I wasn't keeping track, but any questions? Or any comments from you all?
So you could do something better than maximum?
I'd love to. Your world, your scale wise facilities about, is big, next big one up there.
Would IT be able to handle something like that? PMs, service requests?
There are, and we've talked to people about that. I think it is worth looking into in depth to do that, because I think there are.
But I think that'd be a service better handled in-house versus a third-party vendor.
And of course, it is not something we build, it is a product that we have, but it is managed by WKU. And you all facilities has, each of our clients has unique needs. The PMs and things like that and asset tracking are different in your world than what a lot of the other clients that we have are. I think it is feasible to do that. We're very open talking to people about that. We have. Because I think there's some things going on with that platform in the future of that platform or.
Supposedly one way, so.
Yeah. So we're very game to continue those conversations, because I think while the platform we use has gotten into a facilities world, it came from an IT world. And so you know, they are definitely trying to orient it more toward doing some of those things. You know, we just want everybody to, you know, here are the things that we can do, here are the pros and cons, which there are with anything like that. There are plenty of other platforms out there to do that kind of stuff. But I think it is worth a good look, because it is a platform we have used by other clients. We're doing a ton of automation within it already. It will do it'll do this set of things that you all need to do really well and potentially better than what you're doing today. It might not be quite as good on these things over here, but viable still, I hope. So those are the things we've got to kind of get into the nitty gritty details on, but I am very open to that. We're excited about that possibility, and we do believe it would be good for WKU to have that data that is on a WKU system.
Easier to access.
Yeah.
Maybe not have it publicly listed either.
Yeah, so there's a lot to that discussion. I think we should keep talking about it. Absolutely.
Sounds like Teams is becoming more and more important. Is there a Teams for teaching Teams to the team?
You're making fun of Microsoft's naming about as much as I do. And rename of things frequently. So it's inherent with Team Dynamics, which is that ticketing platform that we use. There are lots of other things we haven't even talked about, the things that it does. A knowledge base is one of those things. And there are a lot of Teams related knowledge base articles out there that probably go out there, get it, look up Teams. Teams is a pretty generic name, unfortunately. So a few extra things might show up too, but most of it should be Microsoft Teams related stuff. So you can, you know, but I don't think today there is a team about Teams. We don't have a community group related to Teams yet. That might be something that we could consider and turn up as well. And that's people can, we are promoting that for some more stuff that we, you know, IT doesn't deeply support. It's not our world. You know, some of the software, like some of it we do the best we can to help. We don't use it. We don't know the inner workings of some of this. Qualtrics is a good example of that. So we've been trying to get like all Qualtrics users join this community and support each other, you know, help each other out. You all will know it better than we do. So that might be an opportunity for Teams as well. So we have turned a lot of the features on related to Teams. We have opened up a lot of the self-service related things of being able to create some things, create your own team, for example. And so, and we'll again continue to, actually, on top of my head, I don't know that we have anything huge to open up or roll into Teams other than voice.
Voice is pretty much the next big thing that'll be rolled out.
Yeah.
And we'll change the interface just slightly, add more buttons.
More ones. Oh, good question. Anything else?
Thank you.
all.
Yes, thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming to talk with us today.
Thank you all, and thank you.
All righty. We're now going over to our committee reports. Switched it to where I go first. So I can do my meeting with President Cabona that we have once a month was scheduled on one of our snow days that we had last week, so we didn't get to meet. Herb has an update for the BEC.
We didn't meet last week because the university was closed. 2 weeks prior to that, I think the major discussion involved around proposals that will be coming into the BEC for allocation for increases to permanent increases in base funding. We received several of those and they're being reviewed. I think we're scheduled to meet next Tuesday. I don't know if that's the big meeting that we're going to do to review all those proposals and make those decisions, but those conversations will be ongoing.
Go ahead, sir.
We received the staff engagement survey that we sent out, so everybody should have received the staff engagement survey. And I think that's all I've got. So Vice Chair Jordan.
My report is very brief. They have reopened the search committee to search for an assistant vice president of HR, and they've asked me to be the staff senate representative on that, so I will keep you all apprised. I was on it last time, and that's why they asked me to do it again, so that's all I have.
Morgan.
I just have an update about the new staff reception. We are currently looking for a new time that works for, more of the majority. We had a very low RSVP, rate for that, so we're gonna look into something during the day and, on weekends. So, more coming from us, from our okay.
All righty. John.
No report.
No report. Kent.
No report.
Treasurer.
Design the numbers. My monthly statement for our index is starting balance $2,500, 43 cents, no additions, no disbursements, ending balance the same. Our staff excellence fund, starting balance $2,275.12, no additions, no disbursements, ending balance the same. Book scholarship fund, starting balance $1,969.84, no additions, no disbursements, ending balance the same. But I do know in the emails with Kent that those are from last fall are starting to be processed, so they should hit the index soon. And for the events committee, our next event is in April, so I'll be bringing forward the planned expenditures next month and March's meeting, and that's my report.
All right, here. SGA. Oh, wait, Deanna, I forgot her again. Deanna. She's there. He's here.
Good
Sorry.
morning. I just wanted to share that.
No, it's Deanna. There's something on our end. Hold on.
Okay.
It's turned up here. Let me just do it on my computer. Hold on. It may not be very loud for those in the audience. All right. Just do it on my computer. Oh.
There's a lag.
May not be very loud for those in the. Go ahead, Deanna.
Just gonna share that there were some anonymous comments that we still don't have answers for that I'm working on.
Go ahead, Deanna. There's some anonymous comments that she has that she's working on. If that's right, Deanna. Sorry, it's echoing when I try to do it. You can put it in the chat too if you don't mind. I'm so sorry. It's been a bad day for technology. That's it. I'll be your next runner up on the ticket thing.
All right, now SGA.
Not much from you guys. You guys didn't fall on snow, but I appreciate all of you guys, all the work you've done over the Snowmageddon. I've always loved nothing.
All right, next old business. So I went back and watched December's meeting because I felt like forever ago. But we had tabled your workplace safety report. So do you have anything? Okay, all right. Any new business?
Is there any movement on the proposed town hall meetings that Susan and Bud are wanting to do across campus to the various departments and divisions?
That's in my announcements. When Jordan and I had met with the provost and Susan, to go over the staff engagement survey, one of the topics, of concern on the staff engagement survey was communication. So both the provost and Susan decided and volunteered to, hold some town halls in their respective areas to get smaller groups, to come ask questions and communicate better. They were going to schedule those town halls themselves. So we were not a part of.
But we can reach out to ask if they develop plans, and we can share if they.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that last week that when the university was closed was probably delayed everything.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So I'll make a note.
Any other new business?
I'll articulate or I'll read Deanna's comments. So I'll
okay.
probably articulate it poorly. She said, just to let you know, there are some anonymous comments that we received at the end of last year, mentioned in December, and she's still working on getting those answers. So.
Okay. All right, moving on to public comment. No announcements. All right, we mentioned the town halls, so we'll find out about that. The spring meet and greet is going to be April 15th. When we did receive our staff engagement survey, there was a few comments. Our first question was asking staff members what Staff Senate could do for you. There were some comments back to us that said they didn't know who their staff senators were or what we did. So the reason why we have a staff senate meet and greet is so you can come meet us. So we invite all of the campus community to come. April 15th, it is 10:30 in night class. So we will have refreshments. Oh, you're not here. We will have refreshments at that. Okay. Yes, thank you. And staff senate elections are coming up. We'll have those this spring. More information will come out, but we have got a large number of senators that are rolling off for this time, so we'll need to replace all of them. So if you are interested in serving on staff senate, getting to know new people around campus, getting to know things that happen on campus, this is your place to be, and we'll send that information out this spring. Anything else? All right, we're good. Good to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All right.